Today we're going to cut some points on the avid CNC rotary. So I'm going to show you the setup. I do this manually because when you make points in pull cues, the setup's got to be perfect. So I'm going to show you the cutter and how I set this up. If you can see, on the Z axis, the Z, my cutter and my live center, the points are set up exactly perfect. So when you're cutting your points, it's going to go to the headstock, that, and that point of that, get a good picture here. That little point right there lines up with that right there, that point. So we'll move the Z back, we'll move the axis back this way in the Y direction. I'll put a piece in there and I'll show you what that's going to look like. But it has to be perfect. So I'm going to show you the pieces we're going to cut them into. I got a piece of nice curly maple here. We're going to cut 8 points in this. We're going to cut 4 lows and 4 highs. I've also got a piece of curly bird's eye, and we're going to cut points in that too. But the thing about cutting these points, these have to be perfectly round, and they can't have any run out. If you have run out, then your points are going to be short or long, depending on the wobble. So if this is wobbling like this, and you cut this, your points in, well, when you cut your first point in and you index it 45 degrees, and you cut your next point, and then the wobble's the other way, and your point is going to be short or long. So basically you're going to be wasting your time. So you want to make sure that when you cut these points in, this is perfectly in, no run out. No run out on the machine, no run out on this piece. That's how you get perfect points. So I'm going to put this in there so you can see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Y-axis to the front, this way, towards the front, to get it out of the way. But I'm not ever going to move the Z again, because if I do, then I have to do this whole process over again. So what I'm going to do is just bring this away from that. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit, just slightly, so I can get my piece in. Now I can do anything I want with that as long as the Z doesn't move. So I'm going to bring that forward because the piece is not as long as it is between centers. So that's pretty good. I'm not zeroing the machine out yet. Only the Z. The Z has been zeroed out, and we're not going to move that. We're going to move this forward, and we're going to get the part. Whatever I did with it. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to have to try to set this up. Let me put this in a tripod so I can show you the rest of how we're going to set this up. I have a tripod here. Hopefully I won't mess up anything putting it in. All right. So I'm going to move it back a little bit so you can see this. Now this video is not really for you pull cue makers who've been making cues for a long time. This is for the guys who maybe want to start making cues, somebody that needs some help doing this kind of stuff. So I've been making pull cues for 20 years, so I know how to make cues. Everybody doesn't do what I'm going to do the same. All cue makers have something different. All cue makers can see one of their cues that they've sold someplace, somebody's playing with it out somewhere. They can tell they made that cue just by looking at it. And so can I. But anyway, I'm going to put this piece in and I'll explain to you then how this is working. I'm going to loosen up this little spring. This is on a spring. It has a dead center in it. And then the two little teeth, it's hard to see, but the two little teeth right there, this also has a place for those two little teeth to go into this. And then it has to fit just perfect. That's part of how this works. Get them in there. Let me make sure that I've stamped it. So I didn't put the little notches in here to line up with those little notches. I'm going to do that real quick. So, I just went and stamped those two little notches in, right there and right there. That drives the piece while it's getting cut. It lines it up to that, right there. So we put that back in there and spin it. There, you see it clicked in there. I'm going to bring the tailstock up. And get that clamped in there. Okay. So the tailstock's up there. And then I'm going to wiggle this a little bit and take the play out of it. So if you look real close, when I turn this, you see that little bit of play back and forth there. Hope you see it. Then I'm going to pull it this direction that it turns and tighten that screw back up. Now this piece right here is made by Unique Products. That's where I buy a lot of my stuff that I need. Most of the stuff I have to build myself. Most cue makers do build their own tools. But this is a nice tool. I got it from Unique Products. You can talk to Jim Sickles there. Look online, Unique Products. Give them a call. They sell a lot of stuff. They sell machines. You can buy a whole machine off of them. But they're good people. This machine is an avid CNC. I bought this. This is the rotary. This is a 5x10 table. You don't need that, sure. But I do other stuff other than making pull cues. So now the part's in there. I'm going to take the camera up just a little bit closer. So what I'm going to do, I make my handles longer on this end. I'm going to start cutting it right here. I'm going to cut it that way. But I need all this space here so my tool don't come back and hit all this stuff. I'm going to cut it clear in to here. And then I'm going to make the four low points in this and this. And then when you make the 4 points, which I'll show you later, you have to put those in before you can cut the other 4 highs. So I'm going to get this set up. This is going to be like part 1 of this. If you want to see more, you're going to have to follow or subscribe or something so you can keep up with this process. Now, I personally don't care. I mean, I'm not doing this for money, so I don't care if you subscribe or if you don't. If you're not interested in making pull cues, that's fine. But if you are, then I need to know that you're following, you like this video, you don't like it, so I can make you some more. Because if you don't care, then I don't care. I've been doing this for a lot of years. I'll show you how to do the whole step right, but you got to follow the videos because the videos are going to be long. If the videos are too long, you're not going to be interested in it. So I'm going to put this off. This is going to be part 1 of the points. I'm going to show you every step of how this works. So I'm going to take this cutter down. I'm going to show you that before I leave this so you can see the steps. I've already zeroed it. I'm going to take it down very slowly, like this. I'm going to get it down to where I told you I was going to start to cut. And you can adjust this. I'm going to turn my cutter point straight in so the points are straight to me. This is a special cutter, and I also got this from Unique Products, Jim Sickles. You can sell you one of these. I think they're like $60, something like that, pretty close. I'm going to take that in very slowly, hopefully. Sometimes I ram it, but I don't want to. So I'm going to take that in very slowly. When I get close, I'm going to take it in just a few thousandths at a time. I don't want to actually wreck the thing. So I'm pretty close, so I'm just going to take it in real slow. You won't even be able to see it. That's how slow it is. It's going in just a little bit at a time. And I'm going to take that in until it just barely touches that piece. This is the part that makes a beautiful cue. This is the most important part for the points, is getting this right. I'm almost there. I mean, just be patient. And I'll show you what I got when it's lined up. I'm also going to move it down the rest of the way now to where I want it to start, because I'm up farther than I need to be. I'm going to bring it down to where the point I'm going to take it in a little more, real slow. I want that just to touch that. I'm going to keep going a little bit. I'm only taking it a thousandth at a time because you got to go slow if you want to get it right. You got to take your time. Cues ain't made overnight. See, that's hitting us right there. It's just right now. It's just hitting it, just barely. And you can see that it's just barely touching that. So now the process would be to zero out the machine right there. You don't touch the Z, it's already zeroed. So here's a close, what we got. Just barely touching that. That point right there of this is perfect with the point, the center of this. It's perfectly in the center. So when I cut this, it's going to cut up this way, and it's going to go back, and it's going to cut some more. And I'm going to show you that, but not on this video. This video is already 15 minutes long, so I'm going to I'm going to show you part 2 after I show you the screen where we're at, and then we're going to zero this before we start this cut. The reason I'm doing this is because I want you to see how to do it in detail. Most people are cue makers. I mean, they're not going to spend a lot of time showing you everything. So I'm going to zero the X. I'm going to zero the Y. Now the Z, like I said right there, it's already zeroed. You never want that to leave. You never want to move that. If you ever move that and you're cutting your points, then you might as well throw that piece away. And that costs money. So I'm going to do this on the avid CNC. You can do this on a Bridgeport or any kind of a thing like that. Anything that you can cut straight back and forth. But this is the way you do the points. And there's other ways. I mean, pool cue makers know other ways to do this, but for you, if you're learning to do this, then this is the way you want to start. And then you can watch YouTubers. There's a lot of YouTubers out there, really good guys. I'm not knocking anybody. What I'm doing is trying to show you how I do this. And if you're a pool cue maker already, you don't need to be watching this. You can if you want. You might learn something. I do have some tricks that I know no pool cue maker has done yet, at least as far as I know. But that's in a video in the future. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I make beautiful cues. So this is what I call, this is a Galiher. That's my last name, so it's a Galiher cue. And this is going to be part 1. All right, so I'm going to get this ready to go, and I'll get part 2 right after this.